today for the same reasons our people march.
Good afternoon, Dr. Ann Brown.
Good afternoon.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to our story. And this is a series on the centralization of Africa in world history. We wanted to begin with looking at melanin because melanin may hold the key to where we come from. So I wanted you first to kind of briefly explain to us what is melanin?
As scientists, from a scientific point of view, melanin is a biopigment that is found in all people, but there are some people that have melanin deposited in the skin. We make a difference between skin melanin and neuromelanin, which is the type that's found deep in the brain and in the nervous system. As I said, everyone has a certain amount of melanin deposited. So it is a molecule that captures light, especially ultraviolet light, and it transforms it into heat energy. And people of African origin have it in the skin, therefore we are tolerant of heat, and the ultraviolet rays so far do not cause any harm in the skin. People who do not have melanin deposited in the skin eventually will have a problem when the ozone layer increases, that is, the ozone holes become larger, that doesn't filter out the certain kinds of ultraviolet rays. So deeper than that, melanin is black matter. Mm-hmm. It is an organizing molecule, as Frank Barr said in his paper in Medical Hypothesis, and it is a transducer of energy. It maintains a function of organizing all other molecules and the entire aspect of life, from embryonic development all the way through human functions. So it is the most versatile pigment. That's why it's in the human system. And we study it here at Medgar Evers College. We have every Black History Month, one day we call Melanin Day. And we look at every aspect, the psychological, social, biological, biochemical, biophysical aspects of melanin as a molecule. And we put all that together and bring it together so students can understand and appreciate this pigment so that they won't see it as the way society has socially programmed people to see it, that it is something to be ashamed of. You made the point or asked the question, if the more you have, the better off you are, or something to that effect. Not necessarily the more you have, the better off you are. We only know that those who do not have it have a problem with certain parts of the body, especially the skin, having melanin deposited in it, but it's carcinogenic. In other words, it causes melanomas, which are skin cancer, and eventually death from that due to a lot of other series of events. So it is a protective molecule, and protection from the sun and protection for biological activities in the human organism.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Brown, I wanted to know if there was I wanted to know if there is a relationship to melanin and the cosmos. Some people said that we came from stars, or we are part of stars, we're part of the cosmos. Is that dark matter in space, and does it have an impact on our being?
I believe so. From all indications that I have come upon, the deep hole, the black hole in the earth, yes. I understand that that's the source and that's the power of the of electromagnetism, and that is a melanin center. All of the soil, people have found that melanin is present in the soil. It's certainly found in different forms. Pigments are found in different forms in different plants. Thus, you have green in some, you have brown in others. As a matter of fact, most of the environmental features of life, that is in the plant world and so on, and the earth, have some form of pigment in them. The type of pigment has to do with the vibrational energy. Remember those 7 colors that we see called the electromagnetic visible spectrum? uh, each one radiates or vibrates at a certain frequency. The frequency at which it vibrates gives it a characteristic or a chemical property that we call color. So red vibrates at a different energy than orange, which vibrates at a different energy than yellow, which vibrates at a different energy than green, blue, indigo, and violet. And then the others are invisible of the spectrum. There are several other things that are invisible. Now, the other day, I took some green vegetables, spinach. I took some of the lettuce, the green soft leaf lettuce that doesn't have any red on it. There's a type of lettuce that has curly leaves and is very green. I took some pieces of that, some leaves of that lettuce, and then I had a fresh beet, and I put that in my blender, and I put some distilled water in that, and blended it. And let me remind you that the beet is red, just a small sliver, and that the lettuce is dark, is a nice green. And when I blenderized those two with water to get a liquid, it turned brown, dark brown. So I'm saying that putting those two together changed the biochemical nature of it, thus the frequency, so that you can make brown out of green and red. And there's some question that people have raised that at one time, I know the ancient Egyptians have that in their writings, that their ancestors were green. So it could be that we, being of nature way from the beginning, radiated at a frequency that made it possible that we were of a green nature somewhere. Maybe the blood cells were, I'm not sure. But the blood cells now are red. So my point is that if chlorophyll was in the humans somehow in their makeup, and it's certainly not the same humans as today, that there's some semblance of that green incorporated in this brown melanin. So red and green together will give us this eumelanin, EU melanin, which is what the scientists call it, which is in people of African origin. So EU melanin has green and red in it. So it means then that all pigments of the earth is a variation of these two universal colors, green and red. And there are other colors too. I'm saying that these are powerful colors. Put two of them together, you get the brown. So the melanin that we find that we call neuromelanin, which is deep in the brain tissue, like in the locus coeruleus and the substantia nigra, which is in the midbrain area, and in what we call the fourth ventricle, we find the locus coeruleus. Those are centers that sort of direct the function and the activity of the brain and its neuronal tissue, and the cells that are there. So I believe from the evidence that I have seen and studied that, and some of the research that is, that people of African origin, that is the highly melanated people, have a much stronger, and their chemistry is eumelanin, whereas the other people have pheomelanin, which is a melanoid, which is a form of, or a degradation of, a type of a melanin. Melanoid means a form of the original melanin, which is eumelanin. That means good melanin, efficient, that takes all the sun rays and the sun vibrational energy in, and then the body uses it to transduce itself into heat and other kinds of forms of energy. So I did recently research in melanin in the inner ear. And the inner ear is where the hearing apparatus is, and also the apparatus for balance and equilibrium. And every one of the centers, without naming them to get too technical, every one of the centers in the inner ear, those cells that cause functions to occur, where the hair cells that have to do with electrical current being generated through nerves to the brain, all of them are endowed with melanated cells and melanocytes. Those are cells that produce and mature melanin in granules. So all of these centers in the inner ear have melanin. So they studied that concept using melanated mice or rats and different other kinds of animals versus albino animals. And as I said, in different animals, almost all of the vertebrates that we study in the lab, they have looked at that melanin in those ones that have pigment and those that don't have the pigment. And they found that those that don't have the pigment, after a certain amount of time, they lose the melanocytes, they deteriorate, thus the hearing is lost. And they made a relationship between balance also. So this eumelanin is quite original. I mean, it's real, and it's found throughout the earth and throughout the entire environment, from the heavens all the way down, including the people that were first here. We come from way, 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 way back. As the Dogon people in Mali said, that we come from the star Sirius. And from what I have examined, that if South America and Africa, if you push them together like a puzzle, it's one landmass. So if we were peopled on the earth in that area, when the continental drift separated those two continents, then South America has the original people in it. Africa has the original people in it. And with time, people mix up. So there were African people, melanated people, that were original in this part we call South America, as well as Africa. We know Africa because much of the slave trade and the capturing of people of color came from there and still are there. Brazil, of course, has more people than any other place outside of Africa in South America, but many of them migrated there through different reasons, slavery and etc. So that research showing that melanin is in all parts of the body of melanated people is stronger. We don't lose the hearing as easily, and the nervous system holds up better unless circumstances that we do to destroy that. So, whether there are genes that are changing now, I haven't looked at that as clearly or as closely as I would want to. I'm going to take a look at that later, whether there's any evidence to show that we're changing with time, our genes are changing, thus the human organism is changing. I would think slowly, because changes are very slow. Sometimes you don't get to see the changes until way, 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 way later. So that may be possible, but I would have to look at that. And relative to melatonin, melatonin is not melanin. Melatonin, it's supposed to be a hormone-like chemistry that is released, or like a neurotransmitter substance that is released from the pineal gland, which is located deep in the brain in an area we call the diencephalon. Diencephalon connects the brain stem, which is the ancient part of the brain, to the cerebral hemispheres. So right in between that is the diencephalon. And the thalamus, the epithalamus, the hypothalamus, and so on, the dorsal thalamus, these are all a part of that diencephalon. Well, hanging off the roof of that diencephalon is a small cone-like organ. It used to be called the conarium, but it is now known as the pineal gland. It's easier to remember and so on. And that gland, one of our researchers in our school, up at the medical school that I went to, her project was to look at the cells that make up the pineal gland. She found that the individual cells that called pinealocytes that make up the pineal gland are very similar to the rods and the cones of the eye.